lowering your status. They're going to look at you down. And if they look at you down, then you won't be able to get any ground with them. What is going on, guys? How you doing? Just got this new camera. Super excited about it. Today, I want to talk a little bit about language patterns and let's get into it. Boom. What's going on, guys? Once again, welcome back to the channel. My name is Scott King, and we're in a DJ company in Orlando, Florida, www.djsorlando.com. I also run a coaching business where I help teach the skills that I learned in order to build my business as well using NLP, internet marketers, and hypnosis. So today, let's talk a little bit about language because when you're a hypnotist in persuasion, language is the most powerful thing in order to get somebody to go along with you or something that's really agreeable, right? And it's funny because I see a lot of these, ads on Facebook. Maybe it's just because of my reel and I'm being pinged, but I get a lot of sales commercials inside of my feeds. And there's some of them are pretty funny, which, begs to differ. They're selling you with comedy, right? So that's one way to do it as well. And sometimes when you're making some jokes, you can lighten up the mood. But the first thing I wanted to talk about, a lot of people use this quite a bit, is, oh, I'm just checking in. I'm just checking in. And I even may use it from time to time in an email. At the same time, what is that saying, right? I hate to bother you. You got a second? I'm just checking in. Instead of saying something like that, you could say, well, here's your update. I know I sent over some emails. Not sure if it hit your spam folder or not. Love to talk to you more about your event. And then pretty much just take it from there. You can still use the just checking in to show that you're, you know, doing your due diligence. But just keep that in mind when you use just checking in. And then here's another one for you. I was wondering if you had a chance, or you could just say, well, hey, I know I put this information in front of you. Let's confirm your details. And it's more of a way to speak forward than it is to, beat around the bush, right? Most people just want somebody that's going to take them by the hand and show them how the event's going to go. And as long as you act as the professional, they're more willing to follow you because you're doing the steps, right? Somebody's going to hire me to be a DJ. It's not like they're a DJ every single weekend. I actually had a call yesterday and we were talking about playlists and stuff. And she's like, "Oh, I thought I hired a service." I'm like, "You did, but nobody's going to be boogieing on down too much during dinner or cocktail hour. So if you could just submit a Spotify playlist for that while we're, moving speakers around or dismissing tables or whatever else we're doing during those times, we wouldn't be worried about two mixing and killing a dance floor when it isn't time to do that yet." So that's something to keep in mind. She was a little worried at the moment. And then when I explained to her that we do over 300 events a year, and then this is how they pretty much go about it. It's not like we're going to be just sitting there like a slouch. No, we're going to be making things happen during these times. And it's, people dance for the last half of the event versus all the other things that got to happen at a wedding, right? Well, we got to set up the system so that you have music to walk down the aisle to. It could rain. That's why we have extra people on staff. And yes, a playlist may be running during those times, but it's not like we're just sitting around doing nothing. We're just making sure everything's ready to go for your special day. So just keep that in mind when you're using the language patterns that you use when you talk to your clients or when you're at an event. And the next one, when you get a chance. Well, when you get a chance, you could say, "Please review this and we'll be ready for you at a specific time." So basically, I have a lot of people that may hit me up and be like, "Oh, we're free X, Y, and Z." And I'll just send them a calendar link. "Hey, look, we do meetings on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Schedule a time and we'll be there." Instead of like beating around the bush, is this going to work for you? And no, just use the calendar. It'll send you the emails and we'll see each other then. I mean, you can always call too because the line's always open. But if you're calling on a Saturday, we're probably going to be a little busy at that time. Even though I do have people that are paid to answer the phone from time to time, but mostly on a weekend, they're out doing the things they need to do for the events we have going on that weekend. So again, here's another one. I think maybe we could. Maybe, I don't know. It doesn't sound too confident there. So just keep that in mind as well. And here's some other ones for sales conversations. If you're saying, "Well, I'm pretty good at," well, you could say something along the lines of, "I specialize in," right? So if there was something that you particularly certain type of music that you didn't want to do. You could say, well, I'm pretty good at this type of music. Or you could say, well, I really specialize in this, yet we can make anything happen for your event. And that just sets the client at ease, even though you don't know what, I don't know exactly what your resume is or how many events you do a year or where you are in your career, yet you can present the information in a way that makes the most sense for where you're at. And again, your clients decide whether or not they want to go with, or your leads decide whether or not they want to go with your service, from many different factors, how you present yourself, what the price is, and, what your background is, do you have a clean looking website? Many different things to think about. You don't want to create doubt in the person in front of you's mind, and then that will start to fester. There are other companies out there that could probably use fear tactics in order to get someone to sign, right? Well, you wouldn't want that to happen, would you? Or you wouldn't want this to happen, would you? And then now they have all this fear in their mind, and that could actually play against you, if you're don't deliver on what you said you were going to do. And that could work either way as well. Yeah, if you're putting fear into somebody else's mind, that's only going to fester. So we want to make sure that we put our best foot forward when we're talking. Here's another one as well. I'll try my best too. And we say this again and again in the hypnotic community, that we use the word try to imply failure. So if you say you're going to try to open the door, that just means it's not going to be open, right? So we say things like, I will ensure that. I will work on that. So here's another one to think about as well. If you want, we could go here, meaning you want them to lead the way instead of saying something like, well, let me show you exactly how. Again, you would use your past experiences, as big as a number as you got, however many you've done recently throughout the year, your experience, and, at least the willingness to make sure that it happens, and show your expertise, right? Let me show you exactly how, this is how we get this done. So here's something else to think about when problems start to arise, right? I'm not sure, but be careful when you use the word but, because it negates everything that comes before it, right? So you would want to say something like, well, here's what I know. Let's go from here, right? And then there's that might be difficult, or let me solve this for you. Now, it depends on, you know, where you're at, what your capabilities are, and take it from there. And there's also, I'll see what I could do, or I'll handle this by. Now it just depends. Now, if something's too complicated or somebody wants a service that isn't what they're paying for, you could say something like, I'll see what we could do. Or you could say something along the lines of, well, we'll be able to make that happen for you for an extra cost. And then take it from there, because it's best to have your packages very clear of what the services are. And if somebody wants anything above and beyond that, then, that's when upcharges come. And then you'd want to keep that in mind as well, because sometimes a couple could go to a dance instructor, and then the dance instructor is like, well, I need this song edited with this mix into it. And then they come to you, and then you're like, well, I don't have that in my contract. Yeah, if you want to pay for me to do that, I could surely make that happen for you. Because time is money too. And let's face it, people that are getting married mostly in their 20s, and they may not understand the profession, or, how things probably should play out. But it's up to you to hold your ground. And if it's not that big of a deal for you to, make that edit for them, then you might as well go ahead, because that's only going to lead to, better reviews, that kind of thing. Also, let's just talk about pricing for a little bit. So when somebody asks you what the price is, I usually wait till the very end to tell them what the numbers are. And then I have a very clear cut path of how I got to the numbers. So basically, when I'm on a call with somebody, I explain to them all the services that we're doing, for the day, what we charge, how it works out. And because people won't make a decision unless they're forced to, just the way the nature is, that we apply a discount to the end of it. And then we put the talent on hold, and then they have 7 days to make that decision. So here's some, weaker language that you might be using that could put doubt into your leads. And then, well, it either creates fear or you won't get the booking, right? So the first thing would be the price would be around. So I never get to this sentence, because I don't get to the price until I've explained everything, figured out the date, right? Figured out the times, what the services are, and what type of event it is. So I don't get to the language of the price would be around. In fact, anybody that makes me a phone call and they have a venue and a date and a time, they're getting a contract after the phone call is done. So you could also say something that's a little stronger, like, well, the investment is this. Or the price of my service is, time for money, and my time is worth X amount of dollars. So make sure to keep that in mind as well. And then there's another weak language. We could probably do this. Probably, maybe, kind of, sort of. I don't know. Like, no, talk firmly, right? The package price is this. This service costs this, right? And then that will just make more sense. There's one predicament I ran into recently is that I was on a phone call with a lead and they were telling me that the club or the venue already had speakers in it and they were looking for some sort of a discount. Now, I didn't give them a discount because we charge time for money. It was more like, well, I could sell you this at a cheaper rate because they have speakers in there. Yet if somebody else comes along on this popular date that we have and wants to pay full price, and that guy's already, busy or working or not available because I gave it to you for a lower price, that doesn't work out for my business, right? Because business is here to make money. And as much as I'd love to give the guys out and working on a solid booking, I spend quite a bit of money every single month just to get leads. So I got to have the most bang for my buck. And that's just the way it is. And that's how my business model works. Now, there might be some other people out there, and I'm sure there are. And maybe this person booked somebody else that went down on their price because there were speakers in there. And that's totally fine too. Because I look at it like this: if you don't have enough money for my time, then my time would be better spent making videos for you guys. So here we are. And some other stronger language to keep in mind is your investment is the package price is here's what's included. The total comes to X, Y, and Z. And then, if they have more questions after that, they'll let me show you some more options, because we have the add-ons that they can add to their package, like Dancing on a Cloud or Uplights or what have you. And those are some examples and some different things that I've come across that recently. And guys, go out there, use confident language. Don't be worried about, if somebody's going to get back to you or not, because again, in these sales videos that I see, he explains it as you're lowering your status. They're going to look at you down, and if they look at you down, then you won't be able to get any ground with them, right? So keep that in mind. And if you want to learn more about how I do my sales, how I do my follow-up, how I do my marketing, there's a free class on the YouTube link here, Streamline Success Process, and how I was able to shape my mind, build my confidence, build my business, and you know, have exponential growth. You guys have been amazing. Thanks for the time, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.